So today we are going to make the maquettes for the Rococo hut. My name is Rachel Feinstein. I'm a sculptor and painter who lives in New York City, and we'll get started. For me, being a part of this book is about making art accessible to everybody. If you want to make an oil painting that would just go behind your couch, it's okay. You don't have to think that it has to be the most amazing masterpiece in the world and then have that fear about it. I mean, look at how so many great artists became incredibly important individuals because their message was just be yourself. Do what you need to do to get your voice out there, whatever it is. So you must have structure before you begin anything. You have to know where the anchor is that the entire thing builds off of. It's the curve of the back of the piece that everything is then built and springing off of it. You will make this structure out of foam core that you could buy at an arts and crafts store, and you make a doorway, which in the real piece is actually a real doorway that opens and closes. And this is the original one that we used to build the one that was in Madison Square Park that was originally created for the Marc Jacobs runway set. It was made very small for the Marc Jacobs set, and then we realized the best way to build it up again was to rescan all of the hand-cut pieces and then have them water jet cut in aluminum and built in real life. This kind of started the whole trajectory of making little ruins out of paper. Probably the best way for me would be to tack this very lightly. You place it vaguely where you think you're going to have it in the back, which is towards the side and towards the middle. You stick it on there. You just need to get everything as perfect as you possibly can, but just remember it's paper, and paper is adjustable and quite easy to fix. Versus steel or wood, which is absolutely not easy to fix. You want to hold it for a second too, because with glue it has to make a bond. So yeah, the barking was Mr. Green Jeans, and he is my spirit animal, and he's worrying that he's hearing some people outside. So your images are going to come this way in the book. So what you are going to do is you're going to take the X-Acto blade and you're going to cut these out. You're just basically following the lines. Anywhere where it has dashes, it means it's a fold. Then here's another one, and again, one more column. So there's 3 columns, 1, 2, 3, right here.
How you came up with this idea of construction?
Oh, it was in the 90s. I was copying a bas-relief sculpture of Adam and Eve that was done in the 1500s, and I ended up doing this very simple drawing, and this was before I had a computer, I had scanners, all that kind of stuff, and I just copied the drawing 3 times using transfer paper, and I started to cut up and layer the drawing to look like a bas-relief, as little and as simple as possible. I think always the best ideas are the most simple ones, and they're just the most straightforward. You just go with how it should go, and that was kind of the beginning of this whole thing, which of course now, seeing this sculpture, it's not that simple in reality, but in my mind it is. But the original one was like 2 layers, basically. That was about it. So until I'm ready to glue everything on this, I'm just gonna put this over here for a moment and go back to the prep work. This is the one that is a bit complicated. It's the stairs. The stairs are like an accordion. To try to get the best fold, you use the edge of a ruler, so you're folding in and then folding away. Okay, it's looking pretty good. Yeah, looks like we've cut out and folded everything from the pages. Now the next step is to make these little tiny kind of bases that everything sits on. So you want to have these thicker pieces, these medium-sized pieces, and then you want to have thin pieces. They can look as wonky and handmade as possible. So basically when I was growing up in Miami in the 80s, I noticed how there'd be these strange type of, Versailles style palaces that people would build. And then I also got really interested in Rococo through going to Disney World a lot in Orlando. And I just, as a young person, it has this idea that it's like this incredibly glamorous situation, but a little bit also down on its heels when you see it in a place like Miami and Orlando. When I was 22 or 23, I finally went to the Black Forest and saw like all of the original structures that I had been seeing referenced in Florida, and it was a big eye-opener for me to realize that real Rococo has this death-like quality of perfectionism, of trying to control nature. I became obsessed with it, and I started to look at like Rococo painting, Rococo architecture, Rococo porcelainware. It's the opposite of modernism in a lot of kind of ideas of our time. So I liked that. I liked it being a contrast and a dual aesthetic to postmodernism, especially, actually. So that's where that all came from. Yeah. Okay, so now we're going to the next level, which is assembling this whole thing. So an easy thing to start with would be just to layer this piece right here. And then the next one we're going to do is we're going to create the convex and concave shape. So this one curves in and this one's going to curve out. So it creates this little nest inside of the sculpture. The next stage is this whole kind of layered column that's really popping out at you. I created a little lip in there and another little layering of foam core to give it this little boost. So you're just basically trying to make shapes pop out. That's all you're doing. You're wanting it to look like it's not just all flat paper on top of flat paper. A lot of times people stop themselves from doing stuff because they get worried that they have to have, fine oil paints and fine brushes and things like that. I think it's important to realize that you could make art out of everything. When I was really little, I would work with cardboard all the time in my house, and I think that there's stuff that's always lying around that we all have. You don't have to be a slave to your materials. That's what's fabulous about the world, is that, there's lots of different things that are accessible. It's important to realize that, anybody really can be an artist. You don't have to come from a family of artists to become an artist. You just have to have an idea, and you have to be driven, and you have to decide that you want to do something. And now we're going to do the stairs. This cutout shape right here will follow the cutout shape of the stairs. And again, if all else fails, just look at the drawing. You're just following the drawing and adding on top of it. That's all it is. So we've got the big stairs done. So the next big structural element is going to be this roof, the hood. So this goes right here. You join the back piece to this roof piece. Now we've got this stuff done. Then the next one is going to be this guy that goes over this whole thing. It's popping this thing out. So it's whatever you feel like doing. I like the idea of having everything like it's falling off, like the paper is just uncrumpling. Okay, it's looking pretty good. So the last steps now are just the fun steps. These are just cute little things. My favorite one is the little opera window. I used to have a convertible and used to have a little opera window. So that's what that's for, is basically making me think about my 1986 Chrysler LeBaron. So that's just gonna pop right there. Just mimicking the same shape, but popping it out. And I think we may be done because, oh, we got the last piece. This is just a simple little filigree ending. It's really, again, your choice of how you like it crumpled or you like it really popping out. So that's that. We've got the Rococo hut maquette done.